9/11/2023, MetLife Stadium, New Jersey. Aaron Rodgers comes running out of the tunnel waving an American flag. The New York fans erupt in celebration. The day of memorial in the United States, 22-year anniversary. And here we have Aaron Rodgers leading the charge for his new look New York Jets. He's on a new team. He's got the new number. He's on a new mission. He's got a top 4 or 5 ranked defense to back him up on the other side of the ball. And he's ready to lead the charge forward in a victorious debut as a member of the New York Jets, setting the tone for the season of presupposed success that is to come. And 4 snaps into the game, he's sacked for a 10-yard loss, and he tears his Achilles tendon. Now, he stood up after being sacked and immediately sat back down. Of course, the training staff came, they helped him off the field, and he was carted off to the locker room. Zach Wilson was forced to take the backup role because most people are going to be a backup to Aaron Rodgers. Last year's quarterback was forced to resume his role as the starter and help lead the Jets to an overtime victory over the highly touted Buffalo Bills. During halftime, the sideline reports the Jets were not letting on that the injury was as bad as it was. They said the initial x-rays were negative. They didn't have a full scope of the picture of what his injury really was. And I'm sure they knew immediately once they got him onto that cart, once they got him back in the locker room, they had to have known immediately it was Achilles tear. But probably for the sake of not destroying the morale of the team and the fans, they kept that a secret for at least as long as the game went on. It was good to see that the Jets were able to rally behind Zach Wilson. The defense, they did their part. They lived up to their billing, and they forced a lot of interceptions, a lot of turnovers against Josh Allen, who is considered one of the top 5-6 quarterbacks in the league today. So the Jets defense was very impressive. And also there were some impressive plays on the offense. A very nice catch which brought the Jets to within 1. The extra point tied the game. Very impressive, highly focused, amazing catch. That's part of the reason why we like high-powered, highly skilled offenses in the NFL, is to see plays like that. Despite the Jets winning on a kick return in the opening play of overtime to win the game walking off, reality set in this morning, when the reports were confirmed that Aaron Rodgers had indeed torn his Achilles tendon and will be out for the season. Some players can tear their Achilles and come back and be just as effective. Aaron Rodgers is 39. Surely he can have it repaired. He will have it repaired. But will he go so far as to return to the NFL? He's got a lot of questions to ask himself. It's just very demoralizing. He considered retirement, decided he thought maybe a new location, some geography therapy would help him. That's why he chose to go to the Jets. He would have a good defense, and he had a real chance at making that franchise into a contender. I saw a clip this morning on First Take, and Shannon was suggesting that the New York Jets call Tom Brady out of retirement to come in. And obviously, Shannon Sharp is a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning tight end. He knows way more about football than I do, but I can just say this: that sounds like a bad idea. First of all, what does Tom Brady think about that? The man retired. He's considered the GOAT of all quarterbacks, 7 Super Bowl rings. He went to Tampa Bay and immediately won a Super Bowl and kept that team in contention until he decided to retire because he's in his 40s, mid-40s, 45 years old. I also think that if you were to bring in Tom Brady, some will compare him to Rodgers, and they'll say Rodgers it may even be a more highly skilled quarterback than Brady. Some may say that if you were just take away their achievements, their accolades, and their rings, that Rodgers is a better technical quarterback. So I'm not going to say he's a rival of Tom Brady, but definitely as far as legacy and in terms of, who's better, they got a somewhat of a comparison going on there, even if it's not personal between them. So I think bringing in Tom Brady's hypothetical idea that the Jets can just call him out of retirement would even be a slap in the face to Aaron Rodgers. I think it's time to let the new guys shine. Zach Wilson, he wasn't cutting it last year, but give him his credit for stepping up and immediately leading the team last night to victory. And it just goes to show that even without Rodgers, that team was hyped enough by the moment. Maybe it was them being in New York and it being the anniversary of 9/11 and wanting to rally the team around Aaron Rodgers' injury, they pulled off a huge win against a Super Bowl contending Buffalo Bills. But Aaron Rodgers was not part of that. He wasn't having any success in those few 3, 4 snaps prior to him getting injured. So really, his career might be over. He might not want to go through the rehab. If he does, he's still under contract for next year. If he does have a successful rehab, will he still be able to play a game as tough as NFL football? I mean, he can do the old Peyton Manning thing where he just drops to the ground as soon as he's even being approached by defenders. You can say that had he not tried to take that extra spin and elude that defender that was coming to sack his ass, had he not done that, maybe, but it was going to happen. What was going to happen was going to happen, and it happened. And it's unfortunate to see a player, any player, suffer an injury like that, let alone someone as great as Aaron Rodgers. I think all football fans, despite what team you cheer for, were really interested to see what kind of impact he could have and if he could add to his legacy of greatness as an NFL quarterback. I'm not a fan of the Jets. I didn't want to see him win the Super Bowl, but it would have been cool to see the old guy have one last hurrah. That's not going to happen, and we may never see Aaron Rodgers on the football field again. And between him getting eliminated from the playoffs by the Detroit Lions in the last game of last season to him going out 4 snaps into the game on the first game of this season is just not a good way for a legendary quarterback like Aaron Rodgers to go out. So I, for one, would like to see him come back and play out his final year of his Jets contract next season and just to see what he can do. But if the man doesn't want to go through all that, everybody would understand. He's got a Hall of Fame career already. Some may say it's a little disappointing, his Super Bowl ring count only being 1. But as we know, the NFL is a very difficult league to win multiple championships in. Look at someone as great as Dan Marino. He went to a Super Bowl early on in his career. It was assumed he was going to have a long, illustrious career and he'd make it back, and he never did. So no knock on Aaron Rodgers for only having 1 Super Bowl ring. His play, his talent, his MVP, his achievements, his peers, and even the media all know how great he really and truly is. So I'd like to see Zach Wilson. What if they just let him play it out and just see what he can do? Maybe this offseason has been good for him training with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe Aaron Rodgers can impart his knowledge from the sidelines, so to speak, and help him grow into a better quarterback than he ever could have been without the tutelage or mentorship of a Hall of Fame talent like Aaron Rodgers. So this one can't be predicted, and it's just sad to see that week. Although the Jets won the game, they won the battle, it looks like their chances of winning the war have greatly decreased. We'll just have to wait and see what the team does. Call an audible. Anyways, I'm no expert. I just call how I see it. Until next time, UNO.